Hi, this is Mrs. Cornitz, and we are going to look at dividing decimals by decimals today. We looked at um, dividing whole numbers and ending up with a quotient that has a decimal. This happened when we had a remainder, and we decided not to keep it as a remainder, but to bring down more zeros and keep dividing and moving into that decimal area of numbers. We also looked at having a, a decimal dividend being divided by a whole number, and we ended up with decimals in the quotient again. Today, we're going to look at what to do with a division problem when we have decimals in the divisor. That's the only thing we haven't looked at yet. But before we get started, we're going to look at these four problems. And so we have 72 divided by 3, 720 divided by 30, 7,200 divided by 300, 72,000 divided by 3,000, and they all have a quotient of 24. So let's double check that. If we're dividing 72 by 3, we do 7 divided by 3. We can take out 2 3's, which is equal to 6. We subtract that, we get 1. We bring down the 2, and that turns it into 12. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Yep, so that checks out. So 720 divided by 30. Well, we can't take any 30s out of a 7, so we have to move over and do 72 divided by 30. We can take 2 30s out of 72, so that's 60. And we subtract that, we end up with 12. We can't take 30 out of a 12, so we bring down a 0. And 120 divided by 30 equals 4. 4 times 30 is 120. So 24 here, 24 here. All right. So now we're dividing by 300. 7 won't take a 300. 72 won't take a 300. We have to go all the way to 720. And that'll take 2 300s. So we subtract the 600. That equals 120. Bring down the 0. 1200 divided by 300 equals 4. 4 times 300 is 12. Yep, 24 again. And now 72,000 divided by 3,000. 7 won't take 3,000. 72 won't take 3,000. 720 won't take 3,000. 7,200 will, though. So we can take 2 3,000s out of that, which is 6,000. We subtract, we get 1,200. We bring down a 0. We have 12,000 divided by 3,000. That equals 4. 4 times 3,000 equals 12,000, leaving us with nothing. So this does work out. All four of these problems equal 24. So let's go ahead and look at these problems. It says each dividend is blank times the dividend to the left of it. So the dividend is the number being divided. So each dividend is blank times the dividend to the left of it. So this is the dividend to the left of it. This one is 10 times as much as this. 72 times 10 equals 720. 720 times 10 equals 7,200. 7,200 times 10, 72,000. So each dividend is 10 times greater than the dividend to the left of it. So I'm going to put the number 10 in there. All right. Each divisor is blank times the divisor to the left of it. So the divisor is the number we're dividing by. So this one, the divisor to the left of this is 3. So this divisor is 10 times as much as this one. This divisor is 10 times as much as this. 300 is 10 times as 30. This divisor is 10 times as much. 300 times 10, 3,000. So the divisors to the left are, oops, I have to grab the text tool, are also 10 times. So this number is 10 times as much as this number. This number is 10 times as much as this number. Now we're going to look at the quotients. Each quotient is blank the quotient to the left of it. 24, 24, 24, 24. So each quotient is, come on, text box, the same as, so each quotient is the same as the one next to it. The dividend and the divisor are 10 times as much, both, but the quotient is the same. Dividend and divisor 10 times as much, but the quotient is the same. And what we're doing is we're doing, oops, I wrote it the other way around. We're doing 72 divided by 3. So let me switch that around there. So our original problem is 72 divided by 3. When we move over here, it's 72 times 10 divided by 3 times 10. And so that's really the same as 1. If we go over here, it's times 100 and 100. This is the same as 1, so we still have our original division problem. Over here, we multiplied them both by 1,000. It's this one times 1,000, 3 times 1,000. And so we're still really multiplying it by 1. So if we multiply both the dividend and the divisor by the same number, whether it's 10 or 100 or 1,000, they end up equaling 1. They cancel each other out, and we're still left with that original division problem. It's still equal to that original answer. And we're going to use that fact when we have a divisor that has a decimal in it. So what we can do right here is we can multiply the 12 times 100, and when we do that, that decimal ends up moving over here. We can cross out this decimal, moves it over there, it becomes 12, so we can cross this out. But since we multiplied this times 100, we also have to multiply the 3 times 100. And now we can divide this. So 3, we can't divide 3 by 12, but we can divide 30 by 12, and we can get 2 12s from a 30. So 2 times 12 is 24. We subtract that. That equals 6. We bring down the other 0. And 60 divided by 12 equals 5. 5 times 12 is 60. We subtract that. We're all good. Now we can check that. If we're not entirely sure, we can do 12 hundredths times 25 and make sure that it equals our original 3. So I'm going to do 5 times 12, and that equals 60. 20 times 12 is going to be 240. So that's going to equal 300. But this 12 was really 1200, so I have to divide this by that 100, and we get our 3. So that works out. All right. So here we have 1.1. I really want to make that into 11, so I'm going to move that decimal point over here. So I'm going to do the same thing here. This decimal point is going to end up over here. So 25 divided by 11, that's going to be 2. 2 times 11 is 22. I subtract that, end up with 3. I pull down the 7. 37 divided by 11 be a 3. 3 times 33. I subtract, I get a 4. Bring down the 4. 44 divided by 11 is 4. Okay. So I can check that. 234 times 1.1. 1 times 234 is 234. 10 times 234 is 2,340. Add them up, I have a 4, I have a 7, I have a 5, I have a 2. And since I have one spot here, I multiplied this times 10, I divide this by 10. 257.4, which is what I started with. And so when I am dividing, um, using a divisor, that's a decimal, I can multiply the divisor and the dividend by the same number. In this case, I multiplied them both by 100. In this case, I multiplied them both by 10. And then I can go ahead and divide that, and my answer will be correct.